Hello ladies and gentlemen, and today I'll be talking to you guys about the second part of Ned Kelly's life. Now, in truth, I didn't have that much time last time to actually talk about Ned Kelly, and pretty much I mostly talked about the type of people he might be mostly related to in the type of history books, such as the North Hollywood shooting, bank robbery, technically only because of the fact he and the outlaws were pretty much, full-cladded in armor. But in truth, though, the most important thing, though, is that we can actually understand about Ned Kelly is that he was like the Robin Hood of Australia. Now, reason being is actually kind of understandable. His father, let's actually go back in time, though. This is actually of Ned Kelly's father, who was sent to Australia pretty much from Ireland, mainly because of the fact that he was a pig thief. Wait, pig thief? It says here that he's a horse thief. Okay, I'll just make up what I can do. Anyways, it was stated though that he was actually sent to Australia just because he was a thief of some sorts, which a lot of people don't understand. I need true information. Anyways. Upon being sent to Australia, he pretty much had no problems with the law. That wasn't until later on in history books when he was finally assaulted and some say shot just for being just for having a little bit of fun. Or some say. It's confusing, I know. Now, upon actually this happening, it was stated that Ned Kelly himself was actually stated to have ridden a stolen horse, but in truth, he was actually borrowing it and actually going to be giving it back to, well, the farmer himself. In truth, though, the thing is, he didn't actually understand that the horse was fully stolen for about 3 years. So it's kind of hard to explain, really. But the officer in question, pretty much of the following did the worst thing he could have possibly done. Raised the pistol at Ned Kelly and accidentally fired. The guy was kind of a trigger finger, if you think about it. In doing so, Ned Kelly actually took the gun away from him, and as well beat him and threw him into the dirt, and as well forced his face into the ground. Now, if you think about it, that's actually what the officer deserved, seeing as though he kinda deserved it. After all, he had no warrant or anything to actually do so. But as well, the most messed up part about it was actually that the Kelly family was targeted ever since their father died. And seeing this, it's kind of why the constables were corrupt. The officers, anyways, were very, very corrupt in history books. And pretty much in Australia, anything went for the law. They could actually raise anything since it was a land that was, well, full of outlaws. So, yeah, you can see why many people actually became bushrangers, as living on the land and actually making money. But in doing so, in many parts, the Australian people, not so much. But it is stated, though, that while Australia was pretty much the biggest one of the last biggest continents in history, this is pretty much the land of the, well, outlaws. Which I understand a lot, because pretty much a lot of my ancestral roots actually have some of my ancestors that would come from Ireland, or as well even Scotland, and sent here to the Americas, mainly because of the fact that they were too much of a hassle for the British Crown. Same thing goes for Australia. In fact, I do have some relatives there in Australia, and I do know one thing, that one of them has a boomerang in my head. Anyways, where was I? Oh, that's correct. Now, when we take a look at the history of Ned Kelly, we do see that he was fully plated in metal armor from head to toe. Now, well, almost head to toe, more like head to kneecaps. Anyways, it was stated that Ned Kelly actually wore this armor, and it did have a couple of problems, really. It couldn't protect the rest of his forearms, couldn't protect the rest of his legs from below his knees, and plus, he could barely breathe in the thing. How so? Well, it is stated that upon breathing inside this, well, giant oven, it's stated that he could barely breathe due to the fact that it was technically right up to him, close up to his face. Meaning it was kind of impossible to breathe if it was, say, I don't know, like 1,000,000 degrees. And pretty much in the summers of Australia, it can get really, really hot. Some Australians actually found out it was kind of a little bit of a bad idea to do this, but still. In fact, it did deflect many types of bullets in the history books, and in fact it could even deflect the most heaviest of bullets from Martini Henry lever-action breech-loading rifle. That gun can fire a heavy enough round to kill a rhino with one shot, ladies and gentlemen. So, if that bullet could kill somebody, I could see why the armor could protect them so well. But in doing so, Ned Kelly was stated to have actually been the most impressive man in history, seeing as though he was, as I state, the Robin Hood of Australia. Now, some people also reflect him to Billy the Kid. I can understand, but I could see more of Robin Hood in it, because actually Billy the Kid I could see because he was a bushranger, and Billy the Kid was a wrangler here in Texas. In doing so, they kind of, well, worked on the land instead of, well, and as well away from the idealism of the police. Now, we also do understand another form of history books that Ned Kelly as well actually stole from the rich, gave to the poor. In doing so, he actually hated the police, mainly because of the fact that they actually imprisoned his own mother just because they were harboring, so I want to say harboring, more like protecting their kids, or as well putting a roof over their head, even though they had committed no crime, seeing as though a constable was actually coming in to actually arrest the Kelly kids just because of the fact that he states that they actually stole horses. And here's the hilarious thing. He never actually saw them in the act. No one did. So, in truth, though, someone stole the Kelly's horses, and in the process, well, you get the point. They were just stealing them back. Ned Kelly was actually fully trying to be not a part of the crime, but seeing as though the cops at the time were kind of causing the crime, well, you could probably see why he did it. Another amazing part about the conflict though, was that Ned Kelly hated the idealism of the law taking everything. One event in history was actually when Ned Kelly was very, very young, and he stated to have stated the following, that the law has no rights over the people, but the people have rights over the law, especially if the law takes matters in their own hands. Now, that makes sense, and you can see why he hated the law. But as well, it is stated that though the constable was stated to have been shot by Ned Kelly, many say that it was self-inflicted, or as well, no shot at all. Seeing as though if he actually got shot and managed to actually get back to the main constable, or the main sheriff at the time, he would have bled out immediately. Meaning he might have accidentally just got hit in the head or something like that, mainly because of the fact he was having no warrant to have been there, and as well trying to push his own standards on the Kelly family. Which is probably why he was the most hated person in Australia. And as well, after Ned Kelly's death, it was stated that some people actually shot the man in cold blood. So yeah, you can see why many people would rather hate the law than be part of it. But as well, Ned Kelly's way of stating this is actually what caused the idealism that many Australians wanted a change in their government, seeing as though that the police was taking matters in their own hands. As well, this actually even reached the Kingdom of England, and as well Queen Victoria herself, who stated the problem with the government was actually that it did not change its own idealisms, and it must become a nation of the people again. Meaning they don't want another, well, they don't want another American Revolution on their hands. Even though many Australians actually were starting to take up the fight to become an independent nation from the British Crown. One scary part about it, though, was that many of the British that actually fought back against the thousands and thousands of criminals was that they were being hit in guerrilla warfare. Ned Kelly was, the spark of that revolution. And pretty much of the fact, Ned Kelly fought for the people, not the government, not the police, but the only reason he actually shot, and killed the police officer was actually because of the fact he kind of did it by accident. In truth, he was aiming for their legs, their arms, or something like that, but with the firearms of the day, you only got one shot to fire. And that was still terrifying, even though the guys were shooting back at him. So you can understand why many people do not want to actually get killed. They have to pull the trigger. Those well, guys, if you guys want to know more history about Ned Kelly as well, you could also check out a movie that came out in 2003 with Heath Ledger and Orlando Bloom, which is probably the most historically accurate film I've probably seen of Ned Kelly. But as well, another cool thing about Ned Kelly, though, was that when they went into a massive shootout, he himself actually donned on the armor. And as I stated, it's pretty much hard to breathe in this armor, even though it's 1,000,000 degrees out in this weather. Still though, it is stated though that Ned Kelly was labeled as the Knight of Australia, the man for the people. And in doing so, this legend still goes on. But as well, the one missing thing about him is his head. Many people don't understand where it went. Some say it might have been dug up and destroyed in the process. We still do not know. But I do know one thing, when it comes to the history of Ned Kelly, we gotta look at the truth, and not the truth that is spoken. In other words, we gotta look deep within the truth. We gotta look all throughout the history, and not just this idiot version that many people understand. Now as well, you guys can also visit Ned Kelly's last stand. As well, there is a massive museum that actually shows the armor and equipment they would have used. But it's still though, his head has never been found. And as well, it's even stated that the head that was actually documented, that was stated to have been his, really wasn't. In truth, we do not know if this will ever be true. But anyways guys, this has been Templar. Hopefully you'll find this video exciting. Let me know in the comments below of what you want me to cover during the months of April and such. As well guys, if you guys want me to talk about anything else, also let me know down in the comments below. As well, like this page as well. Also, share this with your friends, and as well, subscribe as well. And hit that bell button for more notifications. Anyways guys, this has been Templar. Have a good day.